Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on screen in just a moment, but until then, listen to this track.
But if I had an opportunity to let these little young sahabs know something, take care of y'all bodies, you know what I mean? Don't take care of y'all chicken. You feel me? Don't take care of y'all mentals, because look, we ain't lasting that long.
OKC, I'm a tad bit eclectic. Thoughts tangential and Tourettic. Sprinkle ADHD and my dreams become prophetic. Deaths and overdoses, suicides and wedding dresses. A curse that devolves and messes over a gift that truly blesses. Visions of a future of successes. Yet me none of these ladies are impressed with. Girls be thinking I'm obsessive or I'm thirsty.
How do I tell them I feel unworthy?
They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. I can write, direct, and act, can even rhyme and rap. Humble and don't see it as a big deal, why is that? I was used, abused, beaten, battered, made to sat and play by myself, yeah, it's whack. See, I grew up lonely and sad, got angry like my dad, spit venom like my mom, and grew to hate myself along the way. I never learned the social skills to play in the world, but shit was just a fad. I finally gone full mad. They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. Imposter syndrome makes me mope.
Tell them.
My emotions are a kaleidoscope. Winter words does that make me feel worthy yet? Nope, therapy has taught me how to cope.
Damn.
I've learned it can't be done by smoking dope.
Or
Getting blackout drunk like a trope.
Or
Meeting women to unrobe and probe.
Or
Getting busy cause it makes my heart want to explode.
Damn.
I've learned you just gotta meditate when
Damn.
you feeling angry and you straight hating.
Damn.
Life and your friends think you're flaking.
Damn.
If only they could know why I'm debating.
Damn.
If only women knew what I was waiting.
Tell them.
Easy for the other guys, for me frustrates, and my brain's in another dimension, translates in the pain in my heart as I write this praying. They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. They say the grass is always greener on the other side, but you never see it till you die. So why the hell do I try? I feel like everything I do is wrong, and that is why I spend my time trying to ride while my life is like a lie. If you got problems in your life, or you just feel like you need to talk to somebody, please do. It's important to take care of our mental health, because otherwise, we're crazy like the rest of the world. I hope you find peace and love.
We weren't even. It's been a day. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thomas Carter Rochester. Well, it is what it is. That's not even the right opening. Welcome. This is Lights, Thunder, Action, streaming directly into your homes and phones via Facebook and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube. This is episode 17 of Lights, Thunder, Action. I'm Thomas Carter Rochester, aka Thor, son of Dale. Sometimes.
And I'm David Thompson, aka I just want to go back to the movie theaters, man. And it's just by day, it's just not a reality. And we're going to talk about that a little later. But yeah, it's getting to a depressing point. I don't want the last movie I saw in 2020 to be Bloodshot. That's the bottom line. I would like to go back to the theaters some point this year, and it's just each day and every week it's just getting worse and worse, which we'll be talking about later. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes.
We really appreciate you guys every week coming in, tuning in, and being with us throughout all these fun times we're living through.
David, what do we got on store for today's show?
Yeah, so today we have a pretty loaded show, honestly. There's been a lot of news, so a big portion will be what the news, but we're kind of trying to go through that pretty quickly just because we have a big trilogy of trilogies topic this week. The Dark Knight, the second movie in our The Dark Knight Trilogy movie series. And I mean, just teaser, it's one of the best comic movies ever made. Just a great film, and we're surely going to dive into that. But yeah, a lot of news, a lot of some good, some bad. You'll see how we kind of play with that. And yeah, it should be a really good time. Loaded show today. Plenty of news. A really good movie to talk about this week with The Dark Knight. Who doesn't love The Dark Knight? So, great show for you guys today. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, I'm stoked because I'm not sure, David, if you're ready for this kind of deep critical analysis, but we're diving into The Dark Knight today. We're gonna psychoanalyze it just a tad little bit. It's really also psychoanalyzing Christopher Nolan. I almost said his name wrong.
True. Also important to note, we're going to update our tournament of trilogies. You guys, of course, vote every week in our little tournament trilogies bracket. Next week, we'll be deciding the winner for the next trilogy we will be doing. And just shortly coming up soon, we'll be letting you guys know who won this week's round in the tournament of trilogies. So, Thomas, how you doing, man? How's your week been? It's been a week. We're back, and we just keep pushing forward, man. It keeps going through. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very sore. I started working out again this week. I started at Planet Fitness. Started my membership last weekend, and I'm feeling it. I went too hard on chest on Wednesday because when did I leave Melbourne? It's been that long since I worked out regularly.
Oh wow.
I know.
That's a while.
Fat. But I started working out again, and I'm sore, and it's good and it's bad.
Right.
It's like everything is great, but my chest is wrecked because I went too hard on chest fly day. But other than that, like I'm great. I've watched some panels this week from San Diego Comic-Con. My brain has exploded a lot. We're not going to get to this in what the news, but Boom Studios had their Power Ranger panel for their comic books. I'm so hyped. I can't wait for it. Quote me on this. I can't wait for November.
All right. November.
And that's skipping Halloween, which is probably also canceled because it's 2020. David, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Busy week, working a lot. Back here in Melbourne right now, so I've just been all over the place lately. But soon it should be pretty stationary where I am. But right now, just a lot going on, jumping around. A lot of work this week, but I mean, keeping up with a lot of not cool, but like a lot of exciting news, and some just more intriguing than exciting. That isn't always great, but a lot going on. Excited for the reopening of sports that's going to be happening. The MLB just started. The NFL is like gearing up for their next season, like their upcoming season. They've seemed like they're pushing forward. The NBA starts Thursday officially. So I'm super excited about that because I'm a huge sports guy. So all that stuff seems to be resetting, and I really hope movies can follow suit sometime soon because those are one of my two main things that I enjoy for entertainment. And so doing well, though. Doing well. Super excited for this episode because we have a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to get to it.
Before we dive into what the genre of our show is about, did you see the trade that the Jets?
Yeah, the Jamal Adams trade. Yeah. They gave up a lot for him. I thought.
They gave up a whole heck of a lot for him.
Yeah.
But think about it. That is exactly the kind of playmaker they had in the secondary when they made their first their Super Bowl run, the only one that won.
Yeah, the Legion of Boom.
The Legion of Boom.
They had and Earl Thomas. Yeah,
they had heavy hitters. They had playmakers, and their secondary overall is not that bad in the corner game. But their safeties need help, and Jamal Adams is the yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it was man to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a win now move for the Seahawks, which I thought was pretty interesting for them to do because I don't know. I mean, Russell Wilson's not getting any younger, so interesting move by the Seahawks. Nothing to do with this podcast, but yes, definitely a big aside because that is big news in the NFL world.
Yeah, it's exciting to have news again about sports. It's
exactly.
been missing it. In the Redskins are no longer the Redskins.
Nope.
Yes, they finally have
Yeah.
disappeared. They're just the Washington football team. So now
Yeah.
I aggressively hate the Washington football team.
Sounds so bland.
It is. Hey, actually, their unis are lit.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Just-
cool. The uniforms are still
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
I've
and
never
the
liked
numbers-
their uniforms more.
Yeah,
And I think no matter what they do, they should keep these colors and keep this logo. But we'll see what happens. They might be called the DC Sentinels, which would be absolutely amazing. Honestly,
that'd be cool.
right?
Yeah.
Especially because you can do X-Men crossover.
yeah. I'm excited to see what their full like name will end up being. I think there's some sort of like trademark dispute happening right now. They claim it's
noticed
going to be
that
for
too.
like community people to like the community to like to chime in and see like their thoughts. But I think they know the name. They just haven't like. And the season starts like in a couple weeks, so it's kind of crazy. So they don't have time. So yeah, the Washington football team, a whole nother story that's pretty interesting. But I think it's a step in the right direction nonetheless.
Oh yes, it's like it's 1920 again.
Yeah.
Like, and that is in
Right,
the
yeah.
worst of ways all around.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to a little bit of housekeeping / cleaning. David,
Yep.
where can everyone find the audio podcast version?
Yeah, so guys, if you guys can't tune in every week, obviously live to this show, you can listen to this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and our hosting site Spreaker. So we have an audio podcast version of our show. You can go check it out there. It normally posts about 48 hours or less after we do our live show. So if you guys are, in your car, driving, working out, please, go listen to that if you can't catch the whole show live. Of course, also we have the videos as well. Anything else?
Yes. So as I said at the top of the hour show, we're live streaming directly to Facebook and the HWWS WebTV channel on YouTube.
Yep.
And that shouldn't be there.
Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before we move on to the Tournament of Trilogies, let's say hi to everyone in the comments. We have Terry McIver, dudes, be excellent to each other. I'm on the left now. Okay, gotta go left. Josh Bauer of JBauerArt and Back Talk with Bauer is in the comments with us. Hello, Josh. He is going to be involved in HarleyCon, which you will get a little bit more information later. Hello, Mom. Mom has a news story that I didn't know about. The story of AB unretiring again.
Oh, you didn't see that?
No, I don't. He doesn't pop up in my reservoir of news.
It doesn't matter. He just he after saying he was done with the NFL, like 2 days later, he comes out and it's like, what's going on with the investigation in the NFL? Calling out Roger Goodell. And
okay, I saw his tweet and I was just like, shut up, baby.
Yeah, it was just he says he's retiring, and then all of a sudden he's like, wait, like what's going on with the thing? I want to get back in the NFL. Like, hey, let me know what's going on. So we just back and forth. We'll see whatever happens if he gets on a team or not.
Amateur hour. It is amateur hour all the time with good old AB there.
Yeah.
But let's get to the part that everyone's excited for. Everyone wants to know who won the Tournament of Trilogies vote from this past week.
Yes.
Well, ladies and germs, Tournament of Trilogies Part 2. Last week we had Star Wars versus Jurassic Park, and Star Wars mopped the
obliterated.
188 total votes from Facebook and Twitter to 98 total votes of Jurassic Park, which means we're going to jump into stats here in just a moment because, like we said, we're Mr. Sports, and I've got stat books now. That means coming up this week, we have the number 3 seed versus the number 4 seed, Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Important to note, both of these flicks were brought on just this week.
Yep.
This session we removed Blade because it got handled very well, and it is our only movie. Oh, that's not true. It is not our only movie. I was about to say it's our only movie in single digits, but Toy Story only had single digits its first run. Indiana Jones versus Star Wars. That poll will be live tomorrow. I totally realized that I did not get that ready. So the poll will be live tomorrow or later tonight, and it'll run for
until next week.
Until next week sometime.
Yeah.
So yeah, until words. But important stats that we need to bring up really quick. All right, so Star Wars. Actually, I messed up. I want to share this screen.
So basically, guys, I mean, next week when we do our next episode, it'll be 18. That is when we'll be announcing, and we'll see your votes on the winner of the Tournament of Trilogies for this round, and we will see what our next trilogy will be. So what are these stats here we got?
It won't let me zoom in. Why won't you let me zoom in? That's weird. So can everyone see this? Isolation time. That's what I want. This is how we've tallied up the winners and losers of the vote. Star Wars has 188 votes. Single most votes recorded so far in this tournament. Jurassic Park had 98, more than doubling their last vote count when they faced The Dark Knight. Where were those extra 40 math votes? 40, where were those extra 44? No, 49 votes. That's what it was. Something like that. Math. Where are the extra votes that they needed to beat The Dark Knight? No one knows, but I'll tell you where they're at. They're right here this week in the L column. I'm going to switch over here, ladies and gentlemen. This is important note. Toy Story has now it's on a losing streak of 2, and it's lost to 2 Steven Spielberg trilogies, as you can see right here. Jurassic Park defeated Toy Story, and since then is on a 2-round losing streak to Star Wars and The Dark Knight. Star Wars, as you see, is, and as I just mentioned, highest single votes ever. Wild.
Yep.
Kind
of unsurprising, I will say. I mean, it is the original Star Wars trilogy. I mean, you could. Plenty of people voted against it, obviously, but that's probably just because they enjoyed Jurassic Park. But I mean, the original Star Wars trilogy, like, it's unsurprising, and I think it's a heavy favorite heading into the final round as well.
Yes, I do. I concur. I don't think Indiana Jones. I said last week, I think Indiana Jones might stand a chance. Now,
I
do not have any idea.
Yeah, but hey, go vote. Make your voice heard. Go see. Tell us what you want us to watch. So go vote this week. It's not up quite yet, but during this week, you will be able to vote. And by next week, we will have our winner between Indiana Jones and Star Wars, the original trilogy.
I just realized that I totally missed my cue with my audience cheering here. I can't believe I'm so upset about it. Thank you, audience. Thank you. All right, that's enough. I'm just gonna clown it up tonight. That brings us to everybody's favorite segment of the entire world ever in the history of life. What the news?
All right, what the news this week? You want to kick us off, Thomas?
Yes. So, most important moment of this entire week until today was watching the boys' San Diego at-home Comic-Con panel. That's a sentence. Something like that. It was great. It was informative. It had a lot of interesting notes. But right at the end of it, they had a huge announcement that The Boys is actually renewed for season 3 already. Yep. Without season 2, having even come out. And they revealed a lot of character details, which really doesn't matter. It's more about like, they're going on this type of journey. You know, Homelander's finding out who he is inside versus trying to murder everyone. I mean, he is trying to murder everyone, but and they revealed an explosive clip, which I have queued up because it is under the copyright time that we need to worry about. So let's go ahead. And yes, like I said, very explosive.
Come on. Break, stand by. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. No, there. Head for the storm drain.
Wild.
It's like, what's even happening there?
I had to show it because it was just hilarious. I watched that at like 7:00 in the morning, something like that, some crazy early morning, and I just died laughing. Season 2 looks to be incredible. I'm so excited. And I really love their they're dropping the first 3 episodes, and then after that it's weekly, so it helps build the tension, makes it a little easier for me to want to watch and tune in. David, what do you think about A, the clip, and then B, the season coming up?
Yeah, so the clip, it was definitely interesting to see. I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, it's like, what's going on? It's definitely typical like The Boys when it comes to just like the crazy graphic like imagery and just like the goofiness of him just like plunging a whale. Cool to see. One thing I'm definitely excited for the new season. This definitely, I think, got me more excited. I'm curious. Right after we watched the first thing I was thinking, like, what's happening? Like, I wanted the context of that scene, basically, and like, what are they doing and why are they going after him, and like, what exactly is happening, basically. So I'm thing is though, at this point, like, I'm just excited to see it. Like, I almost don't even, with a show like The Boys, I almost don't want to know too much about it or that many details, because I think just like watching it as it's supposed to be watched without knowing too much is the best way of doing it. So I'm really excited to see it for sure. And this clip just shows how like fun and ridiculous the show is. So Thomas, what were your thoughts, and anything else you want to point out about The Boys?
Yeah, so I actually don't know very much at all. I know just what they revealed and really they just talked about what their characters at their essence are, which for me as an actor absolutely is like my favorite part of going to panels and stuff. It's like the why. Why is this character doing this? Why is this? So in terms of what actually happens in season 2, they have it so close to the chest that I have no idea whatsoever what's going on, and I'm very excited. And that really just wraps up The Boys, in my opinion. That's just like the one main part of the news that we could start off with.
Until we get into
It's, you know, we have a new segment coming up, which we've teased, but this kind of started it. I should have put this in there.
I did.
It's
all right. But it was the clip was a little different. But yeah, so today, guys, we're going to do a new thing with What the News, because it's just polarizing this week. There's a lot of bad and there's a lot of good news in the light of our eye, like in how we look at it, where there's delays and there's things being pushed back, and there's also like fun new release dates and new exciting things that are happening. So what we're going to do is, because I'm the pessimist, I'm going to do all the bad news. And because I enjoy I like talking about the delays, I guess, because I think it's interesting. It's totally newsworthy. So I'm going to do the bad news, and Thomas can handle the good news, and we're going to go back and forth like that. And so yeah, let's get it going.
All right, David.
So
what's the news?
The first bit of quote unquote bad news, simply put, are movie theaters ever going to open back up? Like, obviously I'm being a bit facetious, but the point is that AMC has delayed their opening once again, and it's in light of all these other movies being pushed back, being delayed, which we'll get to in just one moment. But it has been announced. AMC came out, said that they are postponing their US theaters to reopen in mid to late August. Initially it was supposed to be July 15th, and then it was supposed to be July 30th. So it's kind of slowly but surely they've been announcing pushes and pushing back, just kind of like the movies, delaying it. So yeah, it's the first bit is just like, will movie theaters open back up? AMC's pushing their theater opening back up once again, and it's not even like they're not even giving it a solid date. They're just saying mid to late August. So it's very up in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if it's delayed again. So that is the first bit of bad news.
Yeah, expected, still a bummer.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's get good.
That brings us the good news. So the good news for this first one is Sonic 2 has been given a release date, and it is beginning its development. Very exciting. That was the first movie we reviewed on this podcast /show/event. And Jeff Fowler, who helmed the 2020 film, is expected to return to direct the new movie. from a script written by Pat Casey and Josh Miller, who I am not sure if they wrote the first one. I was not able to find that detail in the allotted time that I was getting things done today.
That's all right.
But that's very exciting. What are your thoughts? Because surprising movie, probably my most surprising movie of this year.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back to, I think, what, episode maybe 2 of Lights, Thunder, Action, I want to say, is when we discussed the original, the first Sonic movie that came out this year, right before the theaters all shut down because of the pandemic. And yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Definitely totally more than I expected. I thought it was a really fun, like, kids flick that also, like, adults can enjoy, which is the best, that's what you want to see out of, like, a quote-unquote kids movie, is something that actually has adult themes and that adults can enjoy. And it's not just like a complete, kids movie. So really fun, good take on the character. I really enjoy how it's like an original kind of, they're not trying to recreate a video game. They took the character, they took the IP, the different characters, and they made a movie out of it. And they executed it really well. I think a lot of people liked it. It did pretty well in the box office for what it could do. So I'm excited for the second one to come out, and even the way the first one ends, like, I'm very excited. I want to see the universe build. I want to see it continue. And that's a great job by them, to make me want a sequel. Cause that's not always the case. Sometimes I'm like, I could do, like, a sequel almost seems like there's no way it's gonna be better than the first one. Well, in this case, I think they're really setting it up. So the second one could be a really, really good film. It could take a lot from what it did in the first movie and make it better. So I'm very excited to hear about the second movie coming out. Very, very good news.
Yes. Very high reaching fast news, which brings us to some quantum news. Yeah.
So once again, of course, me talking now, it's just going to be not great news. Christopher Nolan's Tenet has been delayed once again. And now they don't even have a date. It's imminently. They announced that they will be announcing a new date for the movie Tenet, Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie that was supposed to come out originally July 17th. It would have already been out by now. It's been speculated, or not speculated, but it's been kind of inferred that this is going to be the first big blockbuster kind of movie that's going to be in theaters, since the pandemic began and theaters closed down. But with the coronavirus cases, the COVID cases still kind of raging on and not dying out, like everyone was kind of expecting in the film industry, it's kind of just, it's forced their hand to keep delaying the movie. And to be honest, and we're going to keep going through with the bad news this week, is that it's just making me concerned about all, like, movies this year. It's like, when does it really get better? And, like, when are people going to be comfortable going to a theater? And really what it is when our studio is going to be comfortable releasing a movie and thinking they're actually going to make money on it. And that's kind of the big problem right now, is that they just know that people weren't going to go to theaters. Obviously, the theaters aren't opening. Like, AMC's pushing it back, and not every theater's open. Not everyone's going to want to go to the theater, obviously. Even if the theaters are open, it's going to be minimal. It's not going to be fully packed. So yeah, unfortunate. Tenet has been delayed once again. So very soon, apparently, they'll be announcing another release date. But at this point, who really cares? Like, when that'll be? Because it's kind of just like, at this point, it's like false hope. Because I feel like with Tenet, we've all been waiting for it to come out. I mean, months ago when we were doing this podcast, we're like, we can't wait for Tenet, can't wait to go in the theater. And now, it's almost going to be August, and we're still sitting here talking about whenever Tenet's going to come out. So, any thoughts on Tenet before we get to some more good news?
R.I.P.
It'll come. It's not dead. It will come, but it just can't find in the world today. We haven't been able to get our hands on it yet, but it will come out eventually. And I mean, it makes sense from the studio's point of view. They want to make money on it. They don't want to put it on VOD. They don't want to put it out in theaters when no one's open or no one's going to go. So, and here we are. This is the life we're living right now. Just delay after delay after delay.
If the theaters are dead, then Tenet is dead.
Thomas is supposed to be the good guy.
Back to the good news. That's just for our audio guys.
Yeah.
For our audio files out there. Good news, dudes. What a most excellent news to bring you, that Bill and Ted is going to forego their theatrical release, and they're gonna go right on video on demand September 1st, which, you know, I'm probably not getting Wonder Woman for my birthday, so I'll take Bill and Ted a month early.
Yeah.
Most excellent. This way, yeah. I'm wicked stoked on this, actually. I actually have nothing other to say than woo! Excellent.
Yeah, I don't have much either.
This is a movie. I think I saw Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey when I was maybe 3, and I loved that movie. And then I saw the original after, and I loved, you know, them beating death in chess in every board game. Still, that basically started the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Like, think about it. So I'm a huge fan. Death is coming back. There's a lot of people coming back for this movie. I'm going to be watching the panel soon. It's hosted by Kevin Smith. And I'm very excited for that. And maybe I'll have more news next week. Probably not.
Well, all right. So the next bit of bad news, unfortunately, also Thomas has found another release date that's been delayed. Is Mulan has been delayed, and it has been delayed. There is just no release date for it now, which is a shame. I think it could be a sign that this could be going straight to Disney Plus or VOD. Really unfortunate. Huh?
I actually don't think that. This is one of those movies where they got to recoup some of their money.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, it won't make as much money for them if they do that. And I think they have smaller films they can do that for.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of what these a lot of these things being delayed is because the cases in California are going up, and that's a huge part of, you know, the film industry, obviously, and that's what's pushing a lot of people's hands. But yeah, it's very unfortunate with Mulan. You know, it was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to come back. When it was supposed to come out? March initially, and then it was set for July, or the end of July, or then August. So it's been cut off a few times, you know, changed, and now I think you're probably right that they might not go to VOD, but they just don't know. That's the thing with Tenet, where they're saying there's going to be a delay, like there's going to be a release date coming soon. It's like people don't really know when to actually, are things going to really be that much better like a month from now? You know what I mean? So I think it's hard for these studios to be like, you know, we're coming out with it at the end of August when they don't know if it's actually going to be, you know, the world's going to be ready for it at the end of August. So yeah. Unfortunate. Mulan will come eventually. I would not mind personally this movie just going straight to VOD or Disney Plus, because I don't think you really need the theater for it. Like, I mean, I love the theater. Obviously, I want it back, as we've been saying, but just for Mulan specifically, it's not like I'm dying to see it in the movie theater, like a Tenet, where I really want to see it in the theater, specifically in an IMAX theater or some other like upgraded theater where the sound's better and stuff like that. So, any thoughts on this, Thomas, before we get to some more good news?
I have thoughts on what you just said. Holy shnikes.
What?
Have you ever seen a war movie in theaters?
Yeah, of course. Okay. I see. Okay.
That's like how they sold me on this movie before I'd even seen the trailer was we're taking a realistic approach on the war part of this movie. And I'm like, oh. And then I saw the trailer and was like, oh, like you are taking this full on serious. I think it's one of those. See, it'll be that kind of movie, I think, after it comes out. That's like, oh, this has to be seen in the theaters because you get so much more dimension. And I think this is one of those. I think this is a major. Obviously, it's going to make money. Everyone loves Mulan. But I think in terms of the quality, it's going to be a sleeper.
Yeah,
kind of like Mulan originally was. Mulan came out, and it's still one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. It's in my top 5 easy. It's probably in my top 3, and it is above every other princess style movie. So like it is a phenomenal story, and the strong female lead is something we don't have that much. I mean, it's 2020 and it's still not a thing that's regular, which is
it's true.
But it's getting there. It's getting there. Watch The Old Guard on Netflix with Charlize Theron. I'm sad. I'm really excited for this movie. It's one of the few movies where I was like, I'm seeing this in theaters.
Yeah. I think you might have sold me back into the theater thing because you're right. It was kind of like marketed as like a more of a war movie. And that, and in that case, true. Like I would want to see that in theaters. And not to say, the thing is, when I said that, like,
Yeah,
I
you just
always
need-
want to see everything in theaters. It's
Yeah.
just that, like, if this came out on VOD right now, I'd be like, fine, I'll watch it in my on my laptop or something, you know. Whereas Tenet, I'd be like, no, I like really want to see it in theaters. I don't want it to do that.
Okay, I got what you meant. It's more of I feel you. Like any movie that comes out right now, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'll watch that.
Right?
Even Tenet, I'd be like, I'll watch Tenet. Just surround sound that junk, like every other Christopher Nolan movie I've watched so far. So yeah, I can see what you mean. I'm gonna watch any movie that comes out right now because I need these new films. I need it. Give it to me.
Yeah. All right. Move to more good news.
Some good news. Oh, mama. Okay, New Mutants. I have never been more hype on New Mutants than I am this moment right now because of their at-home panel that they had for the San Diego at Comic-Con home, something like that. They released a whole new trailer, which I watched parts of it in a Snapchat story on like IGN, and I was like, ooh, because I was afraid to. I will be 100% honest, hand to God. I hate scary movies, and it looked a little bit scarier than I was willing to accept. So I had to watch it with like banners and like ads to like save my scared little child self. But they also released the first 2 minutes of the movie, and I saw that first, and it was oh man, heart pounding, tense. I'm hooked. I'm so hooked. I can't wait for this to come out in whatever fashion. I think it's going to be the best mutants related movie of all time.
Wow.
It's really only going up with like X2, Logan, and
you think it'll be better than Logan?
It has the potential. As its like it's not. I don't think it's going to be as steeped in what we know of the comic lore.
Yeah,
but I mean, they have the Psycho Bear or whatever it's called. Like that is insane. Like what? You sold me at Intelligent Bear.
Yeah, I will say, watching the first 2 minutes, I rag on the movie just because it's been delayed 1,700 times. And so that's the big point I want to make in a second. But I will say that watching the first 2 minutes, it hooked me more than I thought it would. It does look scary. And I don't like scary movies either. I'm the same way. I really don't like scary movies. So this, I would be happy for VOD. And on top of that is, they're pushing in marketing right now, which we're not seeing for a lot of movies. And we're not seeing for a lot of movies that are supposed to be coming out in theaters, obviously. Like, when's the last time you saw a Mulan trailer or a Wonder Woman trailer? Tenet had one kind of recently. But anyway.
I don't know what that was.
Not recently, like not like any Comic-Con thing. But anyway, so, New Mutants, new trailer, first 2 minutes. They're trying to they're building hype for the movie right now. Like, they want people to watch it. And it's still sitting at an August 28th release date. We just talked about it. We don't like, is that actually going to happen? And the thing is, now they've postponed this movie for years now, like multi-year delaying has happened with this film. And are they really going to sit and just keep delaying it and not just do some VOD deal on August 28th? I don't know. The way they're pushing in marketing, they're not holding back in the marketing. So in my mind, it feels like it's August 28th or bust, theater or no theater. Like, I don't know. I want to see that. Just put it in the theaters that are open for the people that can go in their local towns and just go see it. And then for us, have us spend $15 to rent it or something, like just
I wouldn't do that.
Just release it.
I'll pay $20 to own it forever, but
yeah, right. Or whatever they do, like however they play it.
This is it's a rumor and it wasn't confirmed. However, it was actually debunked, but the footage that was shown is interestingly, from what I remember reading, is similar to the trailer that they actually released during San Diego at Home Comic-Con. It was an ad in Australia, allegedly, going to Disney Plus. And if it's PG-13, it can go to Disney Plus.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't remember if it was a hard R or if it was PG-13.
I think it's PG-13.
I think it's PG-13 too. In terms of what Josh Boone has done,
Yeah.
I think he wanted it to be R at the beginning, but they could have dumbed it down to. I mean, seeing the beginning of the movie, if it were R, that spoiler alert, the body that gets destroyed by what we now probably know is a bear is it would have been a little bit more gruesome.
Yeah,
more torn up. So it looks PG-13, and they might release it on Disney Plus. If they release it on digital, I just want special features because I'm very intrigued about behind the scenes on this movie.
Yeah.
From
2 years ago when they actually,
From
3 years ago when they filmed it.
7 years ago, they did this movie.
Yeah. But I will say, I'm excited for this film more than I was. Honestly, just getting like some hype around something like the Boys is another example where like there's some marketing hype getting built around it. It's exciting, and we're not getting any of that this summer, which is just sucked. Like we're so used to like getting fed like teasers and trailers from stuff that's coming out over the summer. There's been absolutely none of that. And I mean, going into my next piece of bad news, like the next couple years after the pandemic finally, whenever it dies down and we can go back in the freaking theater, like there's going to be a barrage of movies that are coming out in 2021 and 2022 and so on, really, because there's stuff. And now we're having the effect where before both movies were not being filmed and they weren't being put in theaters, but now movies are filming, but they're not being put in theaters. So now things are just going to start to kind of back up on each other. So exciting in that sense, where we just have to be patient and wait. And once the floodgates open, they're opening, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about, especially in this podcast.
Yes. We're just gonna dive into your next piece of news.
Yeah. So the next piece of my bad news is Avatar's being delayed, which is okay. First off, I despise their like plan with the Avatar movies. The first Avatar, as everyone knows, came out in 2009. It set the box office world record. Whoop-de-doo. It did fantastic, like good. And I think it's a fine movie. I don't think it's like groundbreaking like some people do. I enjoyed watching it. I just watched it for the first time like a couple months ago, actually. I was never like an Avatar person. And I finally watched it. I watched it on Disney Plus, like on my phone. Anyway, best way of watching it, I'm sure, like on an airplane. But anyway, so
I saw it in theaters in 3D. Amazing. Loved it. Once I saw it at home without the 3D, the movie does not hold up.
Yeah, it's a very cookie cutter plot to me. It's not that it looks cool,
bro. It's Pocahontas.
Right. Yeah, literally. And I mean, and these next movies will look cool, but that's the part. These next movies, they have Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 planned. And to me, it's like, what are you doing? Make one sequel. I think almost to me, it takes away from just like the second movie. Because you know there's going to be a third, fourth, and fifth. And it's so overambitious, and it's been the plan all along. And I think it's why it's taken them so long to even get to this point of making them. But anyway, so...
I think he wrote all of them already. So.
Yeah. They are. It's a full set plan. They have like the dates planned. And the dates, essentially, Avatar 2 was supposed to come out next December 17th, 2021. It will now be pushed, which leads into our next news, your good news, which now will be pushed to December 16th, 2022, and so on and so forth, where Avatar 3 is pushed back a year, 4 and 5 are also pushed back 1 year. So basically every Avatar movie has been pushed back. Every Avatar sequel has been pushed back 1 year. So this is now getting into more of the far out, pandemic related delays, unlike like a Tenet or Mulan, which is supposed to come out like tomorrow, basically. And now it's not happening. So these are just more ripple effects happening. So all these Avatar sequels we're going to one day spectacularly get are all delayed a year. So that's the news.
Which leads into It's a Spider-Man Christmas. Spider-Man has taken over that December 17th, 2021 slot.
Yep.
Suck it, Avatar.
Sly move. Sly move, honestly. Like, I think it's a brilliant, because that's a great slot to have. That's
in so many ways does this work.
Yeah.
You love logistics. Talk about the logistics, David.
Yeah. So, I mean, what's interesting is that this should be under the bad news category, but we think it's good news because it's a great time for a Spider-Man movie to release. It makes sense in the MCU's point of view. It's December, and the next movie after that is Love and Thunder in February. plenty of space in between there. Avatar obviously is now a Disney-owned property. The third Spider-Man movie is a joint production between Sony and Disney, so they're obviously, this was not just a coincidence that Avatar 2 has been moved from pushed back a year, and now Spider-Man slides into that December spot, because as we've seen the last what has it been, like 5 years now with the Star Wars films, that December spot, that week right before Christmas, has been a very, very lucrative spot. And it makes a lot of people want to go out to the theaters. It's kind of like a mini summer in a sense, because it's really been working really well with the Star Wars films, where they've been doing really well at the box office, especially Force Awakens did amazing. But I love it. I mean, I don't think we'll be getting it won't be probably Christmas themed or anything, but just it being around Christmas, it'll be a great Christmas gift for me. I can't wait. It is a delay. It is giving it to us 1 month later than we initially thought, but it is coming around Christmas, which is just, it'll be awesome. It'll be Christmas 2021. Hopefully the world will be back to normal by then. I would hope so in some sense. And yeah, they will be making that movie after they finish filming Uncharted. So it should be on schedule. Can't wait for it. Giving them a month more buffer. And Spider-Man, Christmas, all good things. Can't wait.
Yeah, I agree with that. It got moved back, and I was like, whatever, it doesn't even matter. Oh, it's only a month? I really don't care. It got moved back.
Yeah.
And then David pointed out it's basically Christmas, and I was like, oh, it is. We don't got Star Wars no more. Like, what are we supposed to watch? Spider-Man. I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Christmas card pictures. So one thing with Star Wars, like you just mentioned, we're not having Star Wars anymore. Star Wars has also now been delayed. We don't really know what's happening necessarily Star Wars, except for the Taika Waititi movie that's happening. That's been announced that he's actually, writing and directing a film of Star Wars, but we don't know we don't really know their next cinematic move. We know they're doing the New Republic, or is that it? Not the New Republic. It's High Republic. High Republic. Yeah, in books and comics and things like that. But we don't know their actual film next plans. So, but the news for this is that they have also been delayed 1 year. All of those all those Star Wars films that were already going to be coming out have all been delayed 1 year. Just very similar to Avatar, where they're just being delayed a year. And it makes sense, these moves. It's like, all right, we don't really understand the state right now. We don't know. And these are movies that we don't even know the names of, the plot, anything about them. So why not just push them back a year? This is kind of the lost year. So it feels like they're just giving themselves more time. And I don't mind it. Hopefully even makes them not... Part of me doesn't mind having to wait so long. I do mind just not having filler movies, but these big films, even like a Black Widow, it's like I want it in November. After that, I'll be upset. But having to wait for November isn't that big of a deal to me, because I kind of like having to almost wait for it and having this kind of reset button with the MCU specifically and with Star Wars. I don't want to see a Star Wars film that soon, because we just had a huge end to the side.
I do.
Okay. Well, just in that sense, but if I had some control here, I think it's nice to give myself a break, because you don't want to have too much of a good thing, or you don't want them to be pumping out too much too quickly, I think, because then it just can get watered down. You're not gonna things just get worse. I think the quality hopefully will stay higher if they take their time. Don't just make it just don't be so money thirsty they just pump out a movie, because they know everyone's gonna go see Star Wars or anything like an Avatar or something like that. So I'm glad they're just saying, hey, push it back a year. So that's the bad news. Okay, so before we get to our last, we're going to do double up here. We're going to do two bad newses, which is my second one, and then the two good. So the last little bit of news, same exact type thing. Basically, my bad news have all just been delays. So Top Gun Maverick has been delayed. I don't know if you saw this, Thomas, but we hadn't talked about it. Yeah, it was supposed to come out. So initially, it was supposed to come out in June this year. We were already supposed to have Top Gun Maverick out. Unfortunately, because of everything, it got pushed back to December 23rd of 2020, this coming Christmas. And it has now been pushed back to July 2nd of 2021. So over a full year delay, all in all, from June of 2020. What's that?
I think that works better.
It's a summer flick. It's a summer flick. it always kind of felt weird being in the Christmas slot. I mean, I would have definitely been out seeing it, but also it seems like it is more of like a summer movie. I mean, it's Top Gun. If it's anything like the first one, it's a summer film. So anyway, also, I'm sorry I didn't give any specifics earlier on the Star Wars. The first Star Wars film that's supposed to be coming out next is December 16th, 2022. And it has been pushed back to December 22nd, 2023, just to give you guys a little perspective. So from 2022 to 2023, that upcoming new Star Wars film will be coming out. So that's the delay on that. And Top Gun Maverick has been delayed as well, which is upsetting because I want that film. I'm excited for that movie, and it's going to be delayed over a whole year, which is like really hurts. I think it's just kind of weird for even like the cast and stuff where you filmed it so long ago and then it finally comes out. But anyway, Thomas,
like New Mutants.
Exactly. And you've heard there's been some like cast like members that have like been interviewed and spoke on how it is weird seeing scenes in the movie that you haven't even seen yet, like the audience hasn't, that you filmed years ago at this point. So Thomas, finish us, unless you have any comments on that, finish us out with some good news. I
don't care about Top Gun. Shoot me if you need to, but the CW shows are going to be getting back to filming soon. It said that August 20th to August 27th, The Flash, Riverdale, and Superman and Lois are reportedly have set dates in that time frame to get back to work. They're reflective when actors would need to arrive in Vancouver for a 2-week self-isolation required by the British Columbia. Then filming start. Supernatural has started. Their cast has already started returning to the city earlier this month and are on schedule to finish filming of the final 3 episodes of its 15th and final, God bless, season in early to mid-August. There's been no word on Supergirl, DC Legends of Tomorrow, and Batwoman, but they have been held off until mid-season of 2021. The lead actress in Supergirl is pregnant and having a baby soon. So that's kind of
kidding. Wow.
Yep. DC Legends of Tomorrow always comes out usually starting in January, and Batwoman, they just had all of their stuff delayed. So they have more time to worry about. Black Lightning and Stargirl are currently to be determined because they film in Atlanta, not Vancouver. And that's very uncertain if we'll ever get back to work in Atlanta. But well, do you have anything to say on that? I assume not. CW.
No, I don't. That's good. Good news though. I'm glad to see that they will be restarting soon, as other things have been restarting. We've seen other shows, especially like Falcon Winter Soldier. They restarted. Avatar came back to shooting. Uncharted started. So I'm glad to see there is some forward momentum, and almost like in sports, they're able to kind of make things a bit isolated, have these rules, and make it a safe environment to film. I haven't seen any news of like any kind of like outbreaks happening at any of these shooting things. So I'm glad that they've, gotten plans together to safely move forward and start shooting, especially for like I guess I do have something to say for a TV show that's going to be coming out, obviously like on cable and streaming. It's almost better news to see that it's starting to film, because that's stuff that we can get, that comes to our home anyway, not like a movie, like a theatrical release. So it's exciting for those that will be wanting to watch that, you don't have to worry about, oh, you're filming it, but when are we actually going to get it in theaters? Whereas, this can all be done remotely and doing the film sets, and then it gets pumped out to us at our homes. So that's exciting news.
Very, very exciting. Are you ready for the creme de la creme, Senior?
Oh, yes.
It looks like Superman. Have you seen the footage?
I saw the footage.
Ladies and gentlemen, so not only is San Diego Comic-Con at home going on, I got it right.
Yeah.
JusticeCon is also happening right now, and earlier today, excuse me. That was painful.
Bless you.
Thank you. Earlier today, right before we went live, actually, Zack Snyder had his JusticeCon panel going on, and he revealed what everybody in the world has been clamoring for. And if you haven't been clamoring for it, what is wrong with you? And that is footage of Superman in the black suit. I'm going to shut up, and I'm just going to bring it. I got it, baby.
Assuming you're offering.
I'm looking over there.
Oh.
I don't have
Oh,
So
right.
good.
You want to watch it again?
Yeah, if the audience does, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm just gonna let this continue playing because they play it again.
All right.
It is. So yeah.
Do they play it again?
Yep, they do.
Sorry, I messed it up a little bit.
It's coming
I'm
up.
so nervous.
He's frozen because of technology,
So what'd
but
you
he
guys
comes.
Oh,
think?
gotcha.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm watching. I have delay.
No, it's okay.
So yeah. So I thought we. I was like,
Oh, I
We're
was
gonna-
wrong.
we're
I
gonna,
skipped too far
you
in the
know,
forward.
Wow.
I know I'm terrible.
Right.
I'm sorry for wasting
All right,
everything.
all right, here we go. No mustache. No stupid CGI mustache. That is my only thought.
That's
And
your
no,
only
no.
thought?
No, but that
Okay.
is my.
I was gonna say, bro. That's your only thought.
It is not. But that is like
I want-
probably the
I wanna
best news looking at that.
Right? I see. If we needed a mustachioed Superman, it's in the black suit. You know,
Yeah, right. You were finding. Yeah. But
Or
what's awesome is
just
okay.
old beard.
Right. But we're not getting that, it seems like.
I know.
But I'm cool with that because this, okay, so we've heard the speculation, we've heard it from the horse's mouth from Zack Snyder saying that the film will be different, that there's a lot of it. I forget what they even said, like that, like 70% of it will be different or some crazy number like that. That seems almost a little too good to be true, where it's like, okay, really, will it really be different? I know this is like a 15-second clip, but it just feels different. It looks different. You can tell the story is just fundamentally different. Whatever's happening, him meeting Alfred for the first time, him just looking like Superman in the black suit. Like, come on.
Right.
It's so upsetting that this movie wasn't what it was the first time around, that everything happened and that we got what we got in Justice League, because I know, like I was saying earlier, I want this movie in theaters. I want to talk about a movie I want in theaters. I mean, it's awesome that we're getting it at all. I can't say I'm not excited we're getting it at all, but throw this bad boy in theaters, honestly. Like just re-release it. People would go out and see it, I think.
Yes. Did you hear the news on what the rough cut is probably going to be?
No.
Okay, so it might have been earlier this week. It might have been sometime last week. I don't recall, but it was a report on the run, the estimated run time, and it's about 314 minutes, which is like 3.5 hours. And someone quoted, and someone said, "Oh no, that's just the assembly cut." And Zack Snyder tweeted and said, "No, my assembly cut was over 4 hours, or excuse me, over 5 hours."
I mean,
His
you know,
assembly cut.
it sounds crazy, but if it's good, it's good. And if it flows, it flows. And if it moves, it moves. Like if it's not, that sounds like too long. But if the story's going and things are building on each other and we're intrigued, it doesn't matter how long a movie is. So
yes, they might do. It might be a miniseries. They've talked about potentially doing 6 episodes. 6 episodes at 40 minutes is, about 240 something minutes, roughly, right?
I can't math, but I will say I would prefer it being a film because I just prefer film in general. But that's just me. I mean, that would be a very unique way of telling the story if it was in parts. It would be interesting for sure. But I just like film in general, like sit down, watching a movie, start to finish, getting in, getting out.
I agree with that. You're not getting in and getting out with this one, Paolo.
No.
That's
but
like a 3.5 hour flick.
That's true. But I'm excited, man. This makes me so excited for the movie. I love to see that he's working on it. I can't wait for what are they calling it? The DC Fandom next month. That's gonna be awesome. Can't wait for you guys to join us for that show. That's gonna be
that might be our first special episode as well. That's gonna eat up a whole day of
that is gonna be what the news phenomenon right there. So can't wait for that. This gets me so excited for Snyder Cut. And also speaking of DC, like, wow, this could be a good, like DC film, like a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, like Justice League. Like what we all want is that we want the Justice League to be I mean, genuinely, I want the Justice League to be a rival of like the Avengers in the sense of like pop culture interest and quality, and it hasn't been to this point, especially in pop culture. I feel like interest, because MCU's done a great job of having popular characters, have popular actors be in these films, and make it very like what's the word I'm looking for? Not like niche, but mainstream.
Opposite of niche. Yeah.
Mainstream, where
like,
it's like everyone goes.
They took Doctor Strange, who nobody knew,
Right.
and turned him into a character where everyone's like, oh, like Doctor Strange. It's like,
yeah,
you
or
even
even
about the multiverse through Doctor Strange. Wicked. Now you understand my life.
right, right. Or
That's
like,
how I've been thinking since I was 4.
Or Ant-Man, or Black Panther. Black Panther was, I mean, a phenomenon in its own. Like, I mean, it was a very popular film, especially domestically. And I'm like I said, I'm rooting for DC. It's a shame this is kind of like some like retconning of the old film that ended up being put in theaters. But I just can't wait for they're doing this because they knew that wasn't the actual product, and this will hopefully be better. I mean, this is like a 10-second clip that already looks great.
Yes.
And I'm just crossing my fingers hoping the movie will actually be better than the first one. But I'm so confident it will be. Even just not seeing him with the dumb mustache, it looks like Henry Cavill. He sounds like Superman. Can't wait. I wish it was going in theaters, honestly, because I would love to go see it in the theater whenever theaters open back up. Obviously,
they'll never open back up, sadly. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, everyone. I just noticed Adam Irizarry hopped into the chat, and I don't know if he's seen this yet, so I'm going to play it again because that's the
one
real
more time,
man, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Irizarry.
Third time's a charm.
All right.
There's no way Adam hasn't seen this.
I don't know. He is a kid, man.
That's true.
I'm looking over there.
There it is.
I told him, I sent him the link, and then I was like, check this, and he's like, I might be able to do this. Kids got to eat and go to sleep and be bathed, and I was like,
true.
Those are all important things. I have done one of those today.
Well, here we go. We just did but hey, we showed you it right now. So very exciting. Third time's a charm, and yeah, super excited for that. Spider-Man. Superman looks awesome in the black suit. Like, can't wait to see him pop out with that black suit. It just looks amazing, and it's the first time not seeing that suit specifically. Oh, he hadn't seen it. That suit specifically. Not being just like photoshopped, like the Henry Cavill, like in that his Man of Steel suit. This is the first time seeing it.
Except
Man of Steel. Man of Steel, yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
My favorite part of that, because I was like, oh, I want that suit.
Yeah.
Black, baby. I want the black suit. I want the black Spider-Man suit, the black Superman suit. I'll take all black Spider-Man suits, actually. He's got like 5. Yeah. So before we move on to the main event of the evening of, yours truly, the Joker, we're going to say hello to Jen Hogan and Lisa Baker. They've just joined us. Thank you for joining in. We're about to dive headfirst, aggressively into The Dark Knight.
Yes, sir.
And Adam Irizarry, thanks for showing up. Superman is a goat. Bat. Why am I allowed to talk ever? David, are you ready? Audience, are you ready? I'm ready. I got my notes there, and I have a critical analysis of this film coming near the end.
Awesome.
That means it's time for The Dark Knight.
All right. Trilogy of Trilogies time. We are in one of the best middle movies of a trilogy. I would say this is up there with like Empire Strikes Back, in my mind, where it's like the middle of a trilogy, just being like, and ends up being the pinnacle of the trilogy. Like the other films, to me, it feels it's like, okay, there's the beginning and the end has to happen and the beginning has to happen, but the middle, this movie is where it's really, really, just is amazing. Like that's really where they find the special thing they have in this trilogy. So okay, first couple things, like they always say, Dark Knight released July 18th, 2008. So its anniversary, its 12-year anniversary was just a few days ago. It was a week ago, actually.
Yeah, it was. It was when we did Batman Begins.
Right. Yeah. A runtime, and it kind of moves, is 2 hours and 32 minutes, which sounds long, but honestly, the story, this story, I mean, this movie feels so much more fast paced compared to, I think, the first and the third. If I remember correctly. Yeah, and I think it's because there's a lot of good characters you get introduced to. See, this is the thing with sequels. Like sequels, a lot of times they miss the mark because they don't have the specialness of they can't recreate the specialness of the first one. Where in this case, in this trilogy, in my opinion, they set up the second one so well. So when we get to this movie at the beginning, we're just going, like we said last week, I really enjoyed the setup, but I don't enjoy it more than this beginning where we're just in it. Batman is Batman. There's a whole, now we're getting caught up on everything that's been happening in Gotham and like how Batman's perceived and what he's been doing and like everything with the DA and and Harvey Dent, who I will say is a great character. I loved Harvey Dent in this movie. I forgot how much I enjoyed his character and his take in this film. Like he's the third main character really. And he's just a great character.
He's technically the point of view character in this whole movie, if you think about it.
Yeah,
which is
he's the one that gets. He's the one that gets got by the Joker, basically.
Yeah, like the movie is about his downfall and what happens because of that.
It's true, and it shows us, like how basically the Joker wins, even though the ending I love, and it's almost anticlimactic because it's like, wait. We like Batman won, but not really. Batman's just having to deal with the repercussions of what everything just happened, and just in a very intelligent way, in a very selfless way. What's that?
He's playing catch up this whole movie.
Yeah, he is.
Batman Begins, he starts out, and he's playing catch up this entire movie, and then every time he thinks he's ahead, he's 25 steps back and doesn't realize it.
Yeah, awesome. I mean. I can't say enough. We're obviously going to dive into this. It's just Heath Ledger's rendition of the Joker. It's so unique.
I forgot how good it was.
Honestly, me too. Like it's actually funny because we saw. I saw Joker, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, a couple times in theaters. And I'm like, dang, was that better than Heath Ledger's? And after watching this again, it's like, no, but it's different. It's a whole different character in Joker. Like this
is good. I think.
I agree. It's good. I like how it's a different character. I like how it's a different story. It's not trying to be this movie. He's not trying to be Heath Ledger at all. It's a whole different thing, and I love both. But I forgot how funny he is. That took me by the most surprise, where I was like, wait, because Joker is so not funny, and you almost think like, oh, like the Joker is like this really evil guy, but you forget like there's a lot of humor there. The way he handles himself, and it's diabolical and it's evil. But he does it in like this like sometimes hilarious, nonchalant, funny way, especially like the hospital. And I mean, there's a few things. Yeah. Thomas, I want to just hear your general thoughts to begin. Like, what do you think of the film? Even putting it in the frame of like how we're ranking these and like how it works in a trilogy and things like that. Just what do you think, man?
The plot is the most cerebral movie of this trilogy because at every turn you can't guess there's no way that you can guess the twists that are coming because that's what the Joker does. You can't predict insanity. And we'll get to this quote from Alfred later, but some men just want to watch the world burn. And in a way, tease for later, that's both about Batman and the Joker, and boy, dichotomy. The way that they juxtapose Batman and the Joker and how they're literally just spiraling around each other and everything around them is turning into pure unadulterated anarchy and chaos goes to show who the real winner of this movie is. Even though, Joker in his mind, there's a couple things that he gets wrong, but that's okay because the main point was to create chaos. And at the end of this movie, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie ever,
Come on.
Batman, good luck. Batman is on the run, and he stops being Batman for like 8 years because of this.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and on the Joker and on Heath Ledger's rendition, I remember laughing a lot more when I was younger, but this time just watching it, he is funny.
Yeah.
But as Terry is saying here, he's got very different. I think he's talking about overall Jokers. There are actual different Jokers: chaotic, psychotic, manic. I actually saw all of those in this version of Heath. There's times where he's chaotic, which is the whole movie. Then there's times where he's psychotic, and everything that he's acting in a way completely opposite of what any normal person would, which is basically being psychotic. And then manic, and when he's manic is when he's the most funny.
Yeah.
Like jumping over Batman, it's like, and then like things like that. Let me show you a magic trick.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Boom, it's gone. And he just wiggles his fingers. Manic, totally manic side of things. But underneath all of that is this very dry, very serious, I'm gonna kill you, and no one will be able to stop me because they don't know what to do. And that is what makes this Joker, in my opinion, the scariest, because he says he's a man without a plan, but he's lying. He has a monologue written. He reads it off while he's talking. And that's the point. He has this all planned. If there's a Joker without a plan, it's pretty much Joaquin Phoenix because he's at his beginning. He knows what he's going to do at the end to go on the show, but everything even then, everything before that point, he is literally no plan. He's just trying to survive.
Yeah,
exactly. Circumstances, circumstantial issues, and until that moment, everything against him is all circumstantial.
Yeah,
it could be tossed out in court, but then he kills a guy live on TV. Whereas the Joker is not circumstantial.
No.
But
he's
none of the people would squeal on him because they're afraid of what he would do to them.
But yeah, it's like it's unreal to see in this movie how just powerful he is. And the reason he's so powerful is because he doesn't care about the money. It's like, to him, he doesn't that's not what motivates him. Where most villains, especially in this film, it's like they're motivated by the money. They're in it for the money. He's there just to be nuts and to and to bring himself joy in different ways and to be this crazy psychotic. And I love and there's so many great things about this film, but one thing I absolutely love, and watching it again, it's like, oh my gosh, that was such brilliant writing, is how he changes his scars story. And it just adds such a layer to the character because it's like, you just don't know who this guy is. And when he's in the jail, there's no fingerprints, no nothing, custom made clothes. It's just perfect. The way they handle it and how he's just no one. He's no one. And I think it's a great rendition of the character. And it's crazy. I mean, really, there's been no other renditions I've seen, even in comics, so much that have been very similar in look. I think in the actual character, how he handles himself has been very similar. He is the Joker, but I do think, but his mannerisms,
original look,
look,
very unique,
realistic look.
Take. Oh yeah.
You just see these cut marks he made himself. He dyes his hair green. He puts on the makeup because you see his hands and his neck don't have they don't have the makeup on it. It's not like in 1989 Batman where he falls he becomes that because he's a chemical thing.
Or Leto's Joker.
Yes.
Same thing, but both Joaquin and Heath both were painted on.
Yeah.
For different reasons.
Yeah,
which we don't know. The Heath version, we don't know the reasons behind.
And that's the point. And the problem with this trilogy, is it a problem? I don't know. Yes. But what I will say is that this movie hits the pinnacle of a villain and there was no way you were going to make a better one in the next one unless they did the Joker more.
Which I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were going to ask is the issue with this trilogy. I thought you were going to say is that Heath died and they couldn't finish the original idea.
No, but I mean that's part of it.
Oh crap! What page are you?
And one thing while you're looking that up is what's truly tragic is that he did pass away before the film even came out.
Yeah,
which is just terrible to think about because it got. I mean, it's so highly acclaimed, especially his performance, and it's such a shame he wasn't here. You know, he wasn't alive to like get all those, like to hear all that and know he did such a great job in the role.
And it would have been the same way if he were alive too. I think it would have probably been more.
Yeah, I mean,
especially at the time, I was like, would it be as good if he hadn't died? And now looking back, I'm like, it would have been better because we'd have gotten more of it. Like we would have gotten more. And I wrote this down because, you know, we're going to jump ahead to basically the end of the movie in a couple,
we can just
in a
jump
couple of
around,
senses. But Joker's plan overall in the entire movie, in my opinion, is to destroy the Batman's image while destroying Gotham's morale because he wants to bring everyone down to him. He's a sociopath. He's a narcissist. That's what he wants to do. And they were, especially when you watch this movie and you see how Joker and Batman, how they end their terms there. That monologue while he's hanging upside down, we need each other. You know, that whole bit is beautiful and it really sets up.
I love how your one Joker impression is just Mark Hamill, like perfectly.
I don't know about that, man. I'm an agent of chaos. I'm a dog chasing cars. Okay, I slipped in. My bad. Anyways, they were really setting up the third movie to be Joker versus Batman. And it would have been from the, I think I'm pure speculation here, pure fan theory in this moment, because like, honestly, I have no idea, but it seems like Joker would have been in Arkham, which they kind of reference, I want to say, at some point in Dark Knight Rises. But I don't remember. We'll find out next week. But he would have been in Arkham, and then he would have been causing chaos outside of Arkham, like he does in the comics and in the shows and in all the other general mediums. I think that's what that movie would have been, because what is scarier than the Joker? The Joker being able to do all the things he was doing before while being locked behind bars, which is his entire point. When it's like, what did you do with Dent? He's like, I've been here.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, what a choice right there.
Like, who did you send him with? What did you do? His mannerisms. Oh, he's so good. Like, just, I mean, it makes you, like, talking about it makes you want to, like, rewatch it or just rewatch his film, like his scene, because it's like, it's just great acting. And I mean, when I was a kid, I like, if you had shown me the Joker, Heath Ledger's the Joker, and then showed me Heath Ledger, I would have been like, that's not the same person, you know, because they don't act. I mean, you can see it if you know who, if you really, like, now I see it. But when I was a kid, it's like, like you just don't see it, because it's not even just the makeup, it's just the way he handles himself. It partially is the makeup too, but honestly, like, what's that?
The look in his eye is totally different, and you can see that.
Oh, it's. I mean, he went somewhere to do this role, and it's just great. I mean, and what's crazy is that his performance, I feel like, overshadows a lot of other great things about the movie, which I kind of forgot about. I enjoy just the general plot of the film, like with the issues of Gotham. It's so grounded and it's so like tight, and we just like we understand what's happening. It's
not just tight, dude. It's busting at the seams. So much stuff happening in this movie that I like. As it's basically like 6 or 7 15-minute short films cracked together. Like it's like, oh, this point, and then it's paid off in 15 minutes, and this paid off in 15, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again. This movie is insane.
Yeah. And it's cool to see, like we mentioned last week, Gordon's role in it, how he becomes commissioner, and how he like fakes his death, and all. I mean, that the scene at the was it a parade? I don't know what they call it necessarily, with the mayor when they was like trying to assassinate the mayor, and that was just
Oh,
Like, I mean, it was so intense. You still know what's gonna happen. You're still like on the edge of your seat.
yeah, and the way that they edited that section, by just cutting between all the things happening. So like we're walking and we have the bagpipes, and then Bruce is driving up, and then you see these people, and then it slowly builds and crescendos to the moment of climax.
Yeah,
and that's how every little story in this movie is crafted.
The music is great.
Oh man, and then like the white noise sound when something's being built up to explode.
Yeah.
It kept like I kept getting more tight watching it because I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I will say it's just like, I shout out to the music. I said it last week and I'll say it again. Like, I love the music in these movies. I think it's just a great score, and it helps drive the story. That's how the best kind of, cinematic movie scores. They drive the story forward, and it helps the story in this movie, and it helps them in all these movies, I think, because it's so good. But I do want to shout out, it's cool seeing Bruce Wayne not as Batman in the light doing things.
Yes.
Like you mentioned with the motorcycle, him going there trying to do something, and the mindset that he can't go out as Batman in the daylight. Which I feel like we've kind of gotten away from since the Nolan trilogy, where it's so like he fundamentally cannot go out in the daylight, which is really cool. And it restricts him. And it's like, I feel like it's almost like it's frustrating because like, oh crap, I can't go out and be Batman and I have to be subtle. Like when he crashes his Lamborghini, to save the guy and like stuff like that, where it's like, and he has to like rub it off as Bruce. He's better as Bruce Wayne in this movie, I will say.
Easily. He's better in Bruce Wayne in this movie, I think, than even the next movie.
Yeah. Well, the next movie is so different, and there's a time gap, and it's just the beginning of the next movie, I remember, like, frustrates me, but then I like it as it goes along. I remember always defending The Dark Knight Rises, but I don't remember why. So I'm excited to rewatch that, because this movie, you would only have to defend yourself if you said it wasn't good. Like and it'd be like, why? Like you'd have to like not like the Joker or something, because like that's my reason. Because, but to me, it's a great performance, and I think Christian Bale's performance this round is better. Like I said earlier, being able to jump into him being Batman, boom, right off the jump, is just awesome. And like seeing him kind of at the peak of his powers in this trilogy for sure is him in this movie. The sonar thing at the end's really rad.
Oh my God. The white eyes.
Yeah, like that's cool. The upgraded suit looks awesome when he's able to finally move his neck. First
time ever, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that is awesome.
It was definitely a little like it was kind of like a meta thing, like how he can move his neck. I mean, it was definitely like, because no other Batman's able to move his neck before, and even Batfleck couldn't. Like his
was the same situation.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see all that, and I don't know. I think Christian Bale did a great job in this movie. I liked seeing the fake Batmans at the beginning. Batman.
That was something I totally forgot about.
And it feels realistic to me. Like, I feel like that would be real. And even the guy that was faking as Batman was like, why am I any different than him? I'm in, like, and it's stupid, but it's true. And it reminds me of Spider-Verse in a way.
But Batman's answer is great in his terrible raspy. I'm not doing it. I'll keep it.
Yeah. The movie's surprisingly funny in moments.
Oh yeah, this is the funniest film of them all.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but it is.
Yeah, when it's also probably the darkest. I mean,
it's very much the darkest. I mean, okay. I want to run through a couple little bit of notes I have from the first few bits of this movie. So I got 17 minutes into this movie and I only had 4 notes. One of them is armed robbery, check. Double homicide. I don't know if that was check. This is carrying over from last week, by the way, at the end of Batman Begins. I made sure to pay attention in the beginning. He does have armed robbery and he does kill the bus driver, but I don't know if he kills the bank guy. It was not very clear. It looked like a smoke grenade, not a explosive grenade. But then when Batman shows up, he says him again, and we end up finding out a little bit later that Batman Begins and Dark Knight are separated by a full year.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah, because we talked about that last week, where it's like, wait, when does the next one pick up? And I like that. Yeah. I like that gap. It feels like we were talking about with like Star Wars and stuff. I like those kind of gaps in between stuff where you
let things build.
Yeah, and then you get caught up. You know, you don't have to see every little thing. I think it helps like character development, and it helps a sequel be a different movie. Where it doesn't have to feel like it has to be like the next day. It can feel like even in Back to the Future, where we did our previous trilogy of trilogies, it was like a couple weeks, you know, and it had to feel like that, and it was almost jarring a bit in 2 and 3 because characters look different because they filmed it like years later. But anyway, one note before you keep going is I'm not a fan of the new Rachel, I wish they had just. I mean, I don't know what happened. I should have looked it up, like what happened with the casting of Rachel.
I can tell you, she was married to Tom Cruise.
So she is
Scientology, bro.
So she just quit.
She stopped acting for a while, yeah. And I think her her first major return was as Jackie Kennedy in. Was it the Kennedys? I saw it on Netflix. It was a series, and she played Jackie Kennedy. It was really good flick. We have I see some questions in the comments, which we'll get to in the moment. But the scene that is, you know, if you had to craft everything around a single scene, it would be the dinner scene with Dent, Bruce, Rachel, and the chick. The Russian
Natasha.
Pure gold. Harvey accurately psychoanalyzes Batman, like right off the bat, easily. And it shows how good he is. And then he foreshadows his own fall with, you either live long enough to be the hero, or you either die a hero or you live long enough to be the villain.
Yeah.
And that entire scene sets up the whole movie, because this, like I said at the beginning, this movie is about the downfall of Harvey Dent. It is about the birth of Two-Face.
The birth, and then just kind of the
birth and death.
Yeah.
The rise and fall of Two-Faces.
Literally. And it's a small little portion of him actually being Two-Face. And then in that, I think that was a really bold way of handling Two-Face, where I feel like nowadays you'd want him to be like alive at the end of a film. And I like how he just like it is its own movie. You can watch it without watching the other two films.
Yes.
In my opinion, I think the other two films help, complete the story. But I think this movie could be watched by itself, especially because Two-Face and Joker don't return. So it's
Does it help?
I would say Batman Begins helps watching this movie.
I mean, it does help, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Not as much as other movies.
So good it stands. Like I can watch The Dark Knight and be like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, same. 100%.
I can't watch Empire Strikes Back and be like, okay, I'm good.
I mean, exactly. And this movie, I think this trilogy won in the tournament of trilogies because of this film. To be very frank, like it did. That's why. Like this is unlike, I think, Star Wars, the OG trilogy, which might be our next series when we're gonna our next trilogy if you guys vote for it. Yeah, exactly. Like odds are Star Wars probably will be. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll be doing Indiana Jones. But with Star Wars, you need the first, second, and third act to really get the story. This movie, it's like the first it helps get the character, but this film is so like I said, tight and like its own story and doesn't really overlap in that much into the past one or the future. So it really, really, I mean, it does, but not in a way that this movie is hurt by that at all. You don't really feel like it's like a part of a trilogy. I mean, it is, but it's just the trilogy just goes like this. It peaks in the middle, and the other two just slope up and slip down.
It's like the original X-Men trilogy.
Yeah, X2 is the best, right?
Yeah, it's like the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, but I would argue that even in both of those, they have strong. No, Spider-Man is. You're right. You're right. I mean, I think Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 2 is still one of my favorite comic book movies because I personally just love Doc Ock. He's my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why, but he is. He always has been. So, yeah.
Anyway.
Back to Batman.
Did you have any more notes you wanted to go through?
Oh, dude. Okay, so here's one that's going to be like just a good talking point. Can we talk about these IMAX scenes? Did you watch on your TV or like how'd you watch it?
It was on a TV, yeah.
I watched my Blu-ray on my Xbox, and every time the IMAX scene came up, those bars went away and it became full screen. It took a 40 something inch 4K TV.
Interesting.
Bro. And in some cases it was jarring because it would have a really good like establishing shot,
right,
and then it would cut in, but at times it really helped with the storytelling. So the outside of the party scene of the fundraising was nice, and then they cut in and it's tighter, and then it's like I feel more I feel constricted, I feel unfair. And then the scene in China, which you said is one of your favorites.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Oh my god, dude! Just being able to see that on the entire screen was drooling.
It's
so
funny.
Good.
I forgot about that because it's on Hulu, so we watched it on Hulu, and that does not happen on the Hulu cut. It stays like the same aspect ratio, but now that you say it, I remember watching it. I have the Blu-ray. I didn't have it with me, so we just watched it on Hulu. And I remember that happening, and it feels jarring when you're watching it on your TV because it's like widescreen, full screen, and it's like, come on, just pick one. But it's awesome when it goes full screen. And it's like, oh wow, no, not back to widescreen. But on Hulu, it just stayed full screen the whole time. Which was great. So, I forgot about that whole situation. That's funny. We kind of had different experiences because of that, but it doesn't feel. I mean, you don't really notice it, and it's cool. It's funny that like back then, in like what, like 07, 08 when they were filming this movie, is that like they would pick and choose IMAX scenes and others, because I think the IMAX cameras back then were so much bulkier, and even now they're still bulky.
It was also wicked expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, I mean, now it's just about the aspect ratio. So they make IMAX style, like a red in your 4K, and they make 8K cameras and all this fancy technology. They're a lot cheaper than they used to be. They're a lot easier. So you don't even need a full-on IMAX camera to be able to make something that will fit an IMAX screen.
Yeah. I remember The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was filmed partially in IMAX, or like all in IMAX. And I remember watching the behind the scenes, and it was like they were talking about how it restricted them in some ways. And it was like kind of, I mean, they wanted to do it because they wanted to be high quality and they thought it was a cool idea. But in some ways, it seemed like it actually, like they talk about the bulkiness and the difficulty of shooting always in IMAX, and almost like the angles and like how high you could get it and things like that. And it was like, was it really worth it? Like to shoot in IMAX when a lot of people won't even notice. But I mean, this movie it's shot very well. I think that part of it, this trilogy, the cinematography feels the same in all three. I think the way it's shot, and that's probably one of the most that's one of the greatest through lines it has between the three of them. That and the music, and then obviously Bruce. So pretty. I mean, yeah. So what are some other talking point notes you have there?
The party scene in the fundraising scene, and I'm talking from the beginning to the end.
Yes,
is phenomenal. Where's Harvey Dent? There he is, man of the hour. Like,
yeah.
I believe in Harvey Dent. What a corny slogan. And then he ends it with, I believe in Harvey Dent. It's like, oh, okay. And then Joker comes in. Where is Harvey Dent?
Where's Harvey?
As Alfred said, his favorite line is, ladies and gentlemen, we are tonight's entertainment.
Yeah.
Such a great line. And then it ends basically with, let the girl go. Very poor choice of words.
That part's great.
But if you were to just look at that scene alone, like I said, the dinner scene sets it up. This scene tells you how what's going to happen in this movie. You basically have Bruce and Joker vying for Harvey through and through this entire movie, like light side and dark side. And
Yeah.
it's ironic because Batman's all black.
Right.
And Bruce wears a lot of black. And the Joker's very colorful. But in terms of their looks versus their ideology, they're flip-flops. So you've got a Jedi Sith thing going on here.
Yeah.
Which I picked up on, and it carries on from what Liam Neeson did.
Liam Neeson, yep.
R.I.P. Or Ra's al Ghul. There it is.
Shout out Qui-Gon.
Shout out Qui-Gon.
Can't wait to get to that trilogy.
Oh my god. I'm so excited for that trilogy. Where were you at there? Oh, there it is. Back to the score. The white noise during the fundraiser scene.
Yeah.
The first time they really do that. That you know
lay into it. Yeah.
Yeah, that they lay into. I think they do it a couple times when the Joker's shown. Earlier on, but it is 100% that moment where it kicks in and you're just like, oh my god! Like
you know where they do it first. I think it's when he pulls off his mask at the very beginning of the film, where he's like, only makes you stranger or whatever. That that scene where you finally get revealed to like whoever
kill you only makes you stranger.
That's such a good reveal. Such a good beginning of the film. We didn't even talk about that. Like it's such a great start to the movie. Starting with the villain, like not with the hero.
And it throws you right into an action, a literal major large IMAX action scene. And it is nerdgasming galore across the board. I think we'll get back to quotes later on. So everyone leave your favorite quotes in the comments, please. Because I have a list of quotes from the movie.
So go on.
Where are we at? Chaos provides opportunity at the parade. That's like the crux of the Joker in this entire movie is
right.
Chaos creates opportunity. You know who else says that? Darth Maul in the end of Clone Wars. No, chaos, and in the chaos creates opportunity, which we will strike at.
Yep.
So, thank you. So there is. We talked about physics, and I just have one point to make. When they're in the chase scene and the SWAT is being chased, and its Batmobile comes up and crushes the dump truck that's been hitting everyone. When we get to that scene, there's no way the truck driver is not dead.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna take how crushed that scene that is, which clearly it's a stunt they did with no one inside, hopefully. If we look at that, there's no way a body can survive that. So Batman just killed the guy.
It's true. Like talking about that, like we did, like how he doesn't kill and stuff. It's like, all right, but come on, like that he just flipped a truck, and it's like, is he really being like, oh, but I'm not gonna kill him? Like, I don't know. I feel like he's not really caring at that point. Like if that person dies, he's just like assuming they won't.
Just doing what needs to be done.
Yeah,
but because this movie is so grounded in realism, I have to point that out because I don't know outside of a miracle that someone would survive.
Yeah, and it's grounded in realism. It's grounded in realism to a certain degree, where there's still a guy in a bat suit bouncing, fighting crime and doing all these crazy things. One bit of like a fun fact I wanted to point out before you move on is that the scene where Joker is like kind of sarcastically clapping in the jail cell when Gordon is promoted to commissioner was ad-libbed. It was improvised, and they just kept it. So Heath Ledger, it wasn't even in the script that he was clapping there when it's like sarcastically like clapping. Heath Ledger improvised that, and they kept it in the final cut, which I think is like a really.
I'm gonna just skip ahead a little bit.
Man, go for it.
Too far because it's pretty close right after. Actually, I'm gonna not skip as far because that leads me to like Joker's monologue in the jail cell, right then and there. It's so deep. and
Yeah.
existential, and it kind of explains the entire. It basically says this is what's about to happen right here and now, and I'm telling you this because there's nothing you can do because they can't read through the riddles. They're thinking so logical, so material, and he's just like, you don't get it. And then Batman shows up, and then what really grinded my gears here is the dirty cops worrying about Batman's tactics. Like, come on.
I know.
You don't even deserve to drink the same coffee as Batman broke into someone's face. Like, piss off.
Yeah.
I use my F-bomb right there.
One allocated F-bomb.
One allocated F-bomb. I'm trying to save it. Where the hell is... Okay, so we were talking about the improvise. This is where I really wanted to jump to.
Yeah.
In the explosion for the hospital, when he's outside, wasn't planned. It just happened.
Yeah.
Heath stayed in the moment and ad-libbed that, like...
Yep.
He did that when they set it off. It worked. And it's just one of those like happy accidents that happen.
So good.
And really, like from an acting standpoint, that is such professionalism to just be like, come on, man. Like, and it's so in character that it doesn't even matter. So he was so in the moment as the character. Which is why this is so good, which is why I'm not as big on Christian Bale's Batman. He doesn't seem like he's in the moment as Batman all the time. It doesn't exude that to me. And that's why I have said this for a long time. Val Kilmer was my favorite Batman because of his ability to be Bruce Wayne and be able to be a detective as Batman and still be like partially scary until Batfleck. We're kind of running low on time, so I think really let's just dive into the anecdote of Alfred in Burma. In Burma.
That is one of the best parts of this film, man.
Yes, and
an important part.
Important part, and it brings up, everyone looks at it as like that's how he compares the Joker. Like he's talking about the Joker there. Because we all know it ends with some men just want to watch the world burn.
Yep.
But is it actually talking about Joker or Batman more? So, and this is really important because it's not revealed until later, until after Rachel dies. Spoiler alert.
Which is a crazy part too.
Wild, very important part of this movie as well, because then it's the downfall of Batman and Harvey Dent all in the same moment. Which again, the physics doesn't make sense because he had gas on the right side of his face, and that's just okay.
Oh, that's really been disproven. I think there's like a whole like video on like YouTube about how that makes no sense how that worked, but it looks awesome.
It looks great, and boy, is it my favorite look of Two-Face ever.
Stunning CGI for the moment. Who I was watching with, I was like, that's like really impressive for the time. I mean, like it looks really real. I don't know how they did it exactly, but like it looks fantastic. It doesn't look like cheap or like campy at all.
They did some makeup, if I'm not mistaken, with the dots on the face.
Yeah,
in the special features, but they wanted certain things to be just the dots.
Like the teeth and stuff.
Like the teeth, like that was all dots, and then certain parts, like especially in the jaw, it was the dots because they wanted to show the muscle movements. And like up higher, it was like a mix of CG and like some practical effects. Like they had some burn marks on the top of his head, and they used that to transpose. But that anecdote from Alfred ends with really is like, how did you catch the guy in Burma? Yes, we did. How? By burning down the forest.
Yeah.
This is where we do a deep critical dive really quick. Dent, Gordon, and Batman fake deaths and let stuff explode by drawing the Joker into the open. Think of the parade. Obviously, that was someone's plan.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, especially at the end, all three of them were in on that plan the whole time. Is what it seemed like. And then it only only to have that blow up in their faces with nothing but a fire and burning down everyone's life. Right?
Yeah.
That's how the Joker gets back at them. And then Joker burns the world down to destroy Batman.
Yeah.
Who's the real loser of the plot is my question.
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly like that's what I was kind of saying earlier with this movie, where the end of it, it's like, who won? The movie magic feeling of it makes you feel like Batman's won. And especially if you're younger and watching it, it's like, oh, yeah, Batman won. Like Joker got put away, Two-Face is dead, he's riding off, the music's awesome, The Dark Knight. Oh my God. But when you're like you saying it now, it's like Batman does not win in this movie in any sense. I mean, he doesn't. Like he's like now going to be. It's basically like by the end of it, the Joker has wreaked complete havoc. Mm-hmm. Harvey's dead, and they have to just cover it up, and he has to take the fall.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like that's and it's now that's what they have to deal with, but it's not much of a resolution, to be honest. It's just like crap. All this happened. You know, Rachel's dead. This sucks. I'm gonna keep being Batman and move forward. I mean, and in that sense, Batman's like awesome in this movie. I really think. I think like the character is super cool. I like just seeing like how he's become more of the Batman and his rules, and how he's just like in the scene in the interrogation room where he just like puts the chair under the door and just like does the crap out of the Joker, and it's so good because you just feel the raw, like you feel the raw anger in him and the lack of like how, because I feel like that's how anyone can relate to that when you're really mad, but you can't like get to the person you're like mad at, like it's not even affecting them. It's the most frustrating thing. Where it's like he's unbothered by him being upset, and that's like the most frustrating thing that can happen.
It's literally fueling the Joker.
Yeah, no, he's loving it. This is exactly what he wants.
Exactly, and really, I'm gonna lead to like one of the final quotes from the Joker in this movie. Madness is like gravity. All you need is a little push.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing to Batman in that scene. It's so awesome. You're gonna be in a padded cell. Oh, I hope they have yours right next to me. Like, oh my God, what a dig.
I mean, something about the ending too is just the I mean, it's beautifully set up with the two ships and the two detonators. And it's like this, I mean, it's such a random, almost like on paper, I feel like it sounds cheesier than how it's executed. How it's like the way it's, I mean, because we just kind of jump there, and Joker's just kind of like in this building with his dogs, and this is just kind of happening. But in the film, it's like, I don't know, it's really, really interesting. Them like deciding not and throwing him out, and it's like it becomes this like social experiment. Literally, he calls it that.
Yeah,
and it's like super interesting to watch on screen, and like the acting, even just like the folks in the boat was really well done. People we haven't even seen before, and also we care about them, and we're like, are they gonna die? Like, what's gonna happen? And it's like, and it brings up the like hypothetical, or just I don't know, like the thought of like just lives, like who deserves it, like who deserves their life more. And it's like, dang, this movie just gets deep real quick, and it makes you think, which is like, I mean, that's how, I mean, the best movies do that. Make you think. Oh my God. They make you like really question things, and it makes you just like sit, like you want to watch it again, watch it more. Anyway, and speaking of watching it again, watching it more, is that this movie did like logistics for a second. It did great box office wise. It beat out Batman Begins in the domestic box office within 4 days of its release. Not only was it like critically successful, it was obviously monetarily successful. It was the first comic book film to reach $1 billion worldwide. This movie is just it set a standard. And that I don't think DC's hit since.
They've not. They definitely have not. There hasn't been. I mean, Joker might be the only thing close. And
that's such a different movie too.
And it is like, it's so tonally different, like the whole way. It's a tragedy, but in a different way. So, you know, you're talking about that scene in the social experiment. It reminds me of the Stanford experiment, where they took students and randomly assigned them to be quote unquote prisoners or quote unquote prison guards. And,
Yeah.
Showing how easy it is for humans to want to subjugate someone else and look at them as the enemy. And that scene really set that up. And I think it's important to note that, this plot is perfect for our world, both then and even more so now. Could you imagine if something like that started happening in America? Like where one madman started destroying an entire town.
Yeah.
Like insane. The world gets crazier and crazier. And when everyone is remotely threatened, they begin to act out. Sound familiar? And then the world is a powder keg waiting for a spark. And in the movie, the Joker is that spark.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that anecdote between about the dude in Burma and burning the forest down? Do you think that anecdote more reflects Joker, or is Joker or Batman the man from Burma?
I mean, in the movie when you're watching it, it seems like it's Joker because it's someone you can't reason with. And Batman, I think, in some ways can be reasoned with at that point. It seems later on where it's like he can't really be, or that he kind of like cracks a bit, like he kind of snaps. But it's true though. Like it's a good point. So I think when they were writing it or when they were, making the film, it was supposed to be like, it's a great like analogy for the Joker, but I think there is a layer to it where it could be Batman, like and it should be something that he can reflect on. It's not just the Joker. I think it's like my answer. But I think I don't want to take away from how good of a like analogy or like anecdote it is for representing the Joker in this film, where it makes you that mindset where it's like, yeah, like his motivation is like just burning down, like just ripping people apart and burning down everything. And it's not like Thanos to snap his fingers and do like this deed he feels like he has to do, or to get back at someone that like has wronged him, like and like I say, like Iron Man 1 with Obadiah Stane, like things like that, or like the Vulture and Homecoming, like these more obvious motivations, which are great, and you love to see. That's what's great about this Joker, is that a lot of times villains are awesome because you see their point of view, and you are almost like they are the heroes of their story. And in this one, the Joker is just like nuts, and he has his motivations. He is the hero of his story, but he's like got so many screws loose, they're falling out of his ears. And it's so enjoyable.
I question if that's an act.
What do you mean?
Act crazy, even though you're insane in the sense of modern society, but in terms of you just choose to not care because he's the textbook definition in this movie of being a sociopath. Which I think is why everyone loves this version of the Joker so much, because that is who the Joker is. He's a sociopath. And Jack Nicholson wasn't more that. He was out for revenge.
No,
Phoenix gets
we don't even know.
Point. It gets to that point where he just no longer cares. He's going to do whatever he wants. But it took a while to get there. Cesar Romero, just unfortunately, it was for kids, so it doesn't really matter as much in terms of how they portrayed that live action wise. Leto is another one that, if we get the Ayer cut, we'll see is just a genuine sociopath, which is why I really liked the incarnation of Leto. I liked it. I thought it had good stuff, but I thought he was the best part of that entire movie. Suicide Squad. Personally.
I wanted more of him for sure. Like I was definitely interested. And also the Joker character is so good. I feel like I just want more. It's almost hard to like completely destroy it.
I love the Joker character because it's freeing. If I ever get to play the Joker, be afraid. Be very afraid, because I'm going to show you sides of my personality that no one wants to know exist. But this is the only live action version of the Joker that through and through is a sociopath, and it takes you a while to learn that.
Yeah.
Really, if you're not paying attention, I know people who still don't recognize. They're like, no, he never had a plan. I'm like, he had a plan.
Yeah. No, there is, and you see that there is a thought out plan because he says there's not a plan, but there always is, and he's always a step ahead. And
Got a backup situation. The phone in the belly, getting them kidnapped, even though he's getting arrested. That still happened because he wanted it to happen. And this movie is basically just the Joker. We should have just changed this from the Dark Knight to the Joker.
Yeah.
For most of this movie. Before we hop into any final quotes, because again I've got a list. What are your final thoughts? And then we'll do your final thoughts. I'll do my quotes. These are my final thoughts.
Yeah.
Quotes from the movie. Of course, they're my final thoughts.
Yeah.
We have a couple questions in the comments, as well as some really good analysis of the film in the comments as well. So we'll get all those done, and then we'll wrap the show. This will be a bit extended, but that's
sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was a great. I mean, we've had a good long show today, and so my final thoughts today on the Dark Knight is it is showing what a sequel should and could be. Like, we see movies a lot of the times where the sequel is just there just to have one, just to make more money, just to further the plot, just to get these characters back together. But this, I mean, it's surprising how The Dark Knight Rises is, I mean, I guess everything with the Joker and stuff, but even so, even if say they weren't going to use the Joker, like if it was Bane, I feel like that was most of the plan. Joker might have made an appearance, but I don't think it was his plan to be like the main character, because this was his movie. And I think it would have been.
I think it was mentioned by that was his plan. Is the Joker would have been a large part of part 3, and
interesting.
He did have to retool what he was going to do a little bit.
Yeah, because honestly,
like,
I mean, I think that
is like, if I think if Joker's around and he's locked in Arkham the entire time for 8 years and then gets out, that could be the Dark Knight Rises plot,
right?
Or because they spoiler alert for next week, they get into the issue that they talk about. Well, if you do one thing wrong, Harvey, all of these criminals are going to get out. Those 500 and something cases. Well, Bane reveals that. So Joker would have been the one who revealed that because he knew it. He did it. He started it. Bane reveals it. So they keep that plot point in and they just move things around. I feel like Joker would have been a huge part of
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. But I mean, honestly, thinking about it, like, he's so perfect in this. I almost like how he wasn't, and maybe the next movie suffers because of it, because his absence. Yes. But it's like, whatever. This movie's so good, and it stands on its own, as we've said. You don't need to see the Joker continue in the next film to be any more or less satisfied. So, basically, my bottom line is, this movie's awesome. It's one of my favorite comic book movies. It's what a sequel like should be. Like, it's like almost hitting the ceiling of what a sequel can be, like a sequel truly in a trilogy, like how we're doing this on our show, like seeing trilogies where it is the best of the 3 movies easily, in my opinion. And it's hard to match. I mean, Empire is like, I think in my head, that's where I go to, where I think of like when the second movie is the best one.
Part 2, which you'll find out eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Critically and historically, that's the one that everyone talks about. Is Godfather 2 is better than the first. And
and I feel like there's almost like we put those kinds of movies on a higher shelf in our minds for some reason. Like Godfather 2, I've heard all about how great that movie is. The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2 to some degree, Empire Strikes Back, where it's like, oh, the sequel was better, because it's almost kind of rare in some sense.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
But the problem is with the MCU is because it kind of kept getting better in some respects, even though I love Winter Soldier. I mean, I think just because the Russo brothers kept going, it it almost makes the Winter Soldier get overshadowed, which is a shame because Winter Soldier is such a great sequel, but it's not the pinnacle. But that's just because the MCU is like nuts.
I will disagree with that. I like Civil War, but that's Avengers 2.5 to me. I forget that's a Captain America movie.
Okay, so in that frame of like it's just saying a Captain America trilogy, I'm saying because the MCU is so connected, it's kind of hard to just pull out the trilogies in the MCU.
That's
but
fair. That's what I was trying to do, is just the trilogy of characters.
For the purposes of how we do the trilogies of trilogies, that makes a lot of sense because I think the Winter Soldier is great. But yeah, I think this movie just sets that precedent. It's hard to make a movie like this where there are these new characters like the Joker and Harvey Dent that are such strong characters that they come and go in this one film and they have a lasting impact on the movie. It's awesome how it stands alone. It's great how it stands alone, honestly, because you can just watch this film. You don't feel the need to watch Begins or Rises. You can just boom, hop into this, and you're just loving life for 2.5 hours and just go in, go out, and enjoy the film. So yeah, those are my final thoughts. If you haven't seen it, I feel like everyone watching this has seen it. It's worth a rewatch if you haven't. If you're bored in quarantine or do whatever you're up to, it's such a fun movie to watch and rewatch, I think, because I've noticed sometimes as I've gotten older is I pick up more as I rewatch films, especially if it's been a few years. I see things in different ways sometimes. And this is definitely a movie that I would definitely recommend if you haven't seen it in a while to go rewatch it. It's a great flick.
I second all of that. My final thoughts are, I'm just going to quote parts of the movie that I really thought were amazing. I don't have as many quotes as I originally had because I said a few of them already.
Yeah, that's all right.
And, fans, please leave your comments with your favorite quote if you've not already. Right off the bat, nope, I got to save that one for last. That's too good to go first. Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to say this one again because it's very important. Madness is like gravity. All you need is a little push. So true. It defines exactly what's happening in America right now. Okay. Mild hot take.
Oops, my swope alert.
Might ruffle some feathers. It's political.
Oh boy.
Is Donald Trump the Joker?
I've seen fan art.
Pushing everyone to go into madness. Maybe. Conspiracy theory. Not the QAnon kind, just the regular kind.
Regular kind.
The regular kind, yeah. So Batman killed Dent. Also an important point that I forgot to mention. Batman killed Dent, and that goes to show that even good people lie and create conspiracy, to tie it back into the conspiracy I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And then Batman says, and this is so very important to this entire trilogy, I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be. Because sometimes truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people need their faith to be rewarded.
Yeah.
And that's why they do the thing about Dent. Now, my favorite quote. Let me get my licks ready. If you're good at something, never do it for free.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So let's just hop into the comments here. There's some quotes. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Superman go. Scrolling through. Terry, we already clicked that one. So Heath Ledger was the creepiest Joker ever. That is what made it the best performance. That's from Alfred Pennyworth. Terry laughed out loud when during a few of Joker scenes, including the magic trick. Everyone else gasped. I think I gasped and then laughed because I was just like, oh, that is brilliant writing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a brilliant mental move right there.
You saw us in theaters, right?
I did. I got to see this in theaters, opening night, packed house. Wild, bro.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Heath Ledger scared the hell out of me at first.
Yeah.
And Joker, Jack Nicholson, scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. So like it continued the trend. The scariest thing to those involved in crime is someone that can't be bought. Yes, Terry, you are right. Jen Hogan says that Joker is methodical. And she's met a couple people in real life that had shark eyes with no feeling or lifeless looking. So scary. Many actors who have done that character do not come back mentally. I believe he is talking about, Jin is talking about the Joker here. Joaquin, well, he was already kind of in a weird place. He's a very eclectic individual. Nicholson, well, it's just Nicholson playing Nicholson. Leto, well, that's to be debated on in the future, I suppose. There's rumors about Jared Leto as a person, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I ain't never met him. Terry McIver says that he loved Patton Oswalt's theory that the Joker is a highly skilled black ops demolition expert. Interesting.
Yeah.
He also says that Heath was excellent and so different in each movie he made. He's just talking about him as an actor at this point.
Yeah.
Adam Irizarry wants to know, what's your favorite Joker? One of his is Cesar Romero. Do you have one off the top of your head? Or how about let's do two and think about that and we'll come back. Because I'll let you go first. I know my two already.
My two.
Ooh.
Oh, it's hard.
We'll come back to you then. I'll let you simmer.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Terry says, highly recommend Candy. I believe that is a Heath Ledger movie that he's talking about there. Jen says, Batman and the Joker are so similar in their personalities. One is just not a sociopath, but both are damaged and suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
Very true, Jen. Very good, astute point right there. Because that really comes back to the whole main topic of this discussion is the man from Burma more allegorical to Joker or Batman? Because they're very similar and there's only a little bit to keep them away. If you have the time, watch the TV show Justified. The relationship between Raylan and Boyd is like Batman and Joker in a real life setting. That's from Terry McIver. I'll have to watch that because Timothy Olyphant is in that show. And he's also in Star Wars now. So that's exciting. Alfred Pennyworth's, I said this earlier, but his favorite quote is, ladies and gentlemen, we are tonight's entertainment. Terry's is a very poor choice of words. Want to see how crazy Batman's made Gotham? This is how crazy Batman's made Gotham. He also says the first white noise is before they break the window in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Actually, yes. Terry, I won my phone call.
Yeah. That was a great part. Yeah.
When we were talking about where Heath's head was at when he was playing in that hospital situation, the explosions happen and he just stays in character. Adam says he was the Joker. I concur. I would love to get my hands on his journal just to see where his mind went and like how he prepared for that role in a journalistic sense. I'm not a journaler. I try my best. Do or do not. There is no try. Thanks, Yoda. So I do my best to kind of like get there, but journaling for me has always helped me get in character. And I've got some really dark stuff for certain evil characters that I've written about. Terry McIver says it was crazy in that moment. He hit every mark during the explosion of the hospital, and with the detonation being interrupted, staying in character was insanely good. We're down here to our final few comments. Alfred Pennyworth. His top Joker is Ledger, Nicholson, Phoenix, and Leto is dead last. He thinks Leto was the worst version of Joker. Terry says that he felt Leto did a great job with what he was given. Terry also says that Ledger was on another planet compared to anyone else that's portrayed Joker. Mark Hamill is a very close second, though.
Yeah.
Alfred says the only thing about Dark Knight that pissed him off was killing Two-Face, which I agree. Adam wants to keep it going, so we're gonna keep going.
We're doing it.
We're here.
To answer the question of what my favorite Jokers are, so before Joker came out with Joaquin Phoenix, mine would have been Heath Ledger #1 and Mark Hamill #2. After Joker, I'm probably going to stick with those two still, if you just want to, just because I feel like Joaquin, to me, that's like, it's mostly Arthur in that movie. He's not the Joker. The movie's called Joker, and he becomes the Joker.
Yep.
But to me, there's no Batman. There's no, like, it's its own separate thing. So, like, kind of like brush around the question and make me make a hard decision. I'm just going to say those two and not really count Joaquin. Because I love Joker and I love Joaquin's performance. But to me, I don't know. It almost is, it's like a totally different character in my, like, even just how I like put it in like my mind. Like you can compare Hamill to Ledger a lot more than you can compare those two to, say, Joaquin Phoenix.
Interesting. My number one is Mark Hamill. It is my first Joker. Anytime I read something with Joker, I hear his voice. I have done monologues of Heath Ledger in the Mark Hamill voice.
Don't hit the head, it gets all fuzzy.
You know, it evoked the same thing that Ledger did. And because it was animated, it was a little bit more high pitched. But if I ever was the Joker, I would blend every version of, I would take something from every incarnation of the Joker that there is, because that is the essence of who the Joker is. He is sociopathic, borderline mental, on the sense of he could potentially be borderline schizo.
Yeah.
And, you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he gives 3 different stories. All of those could be true in his mind. Like, it's crazy. And then number 2 is Ledger. And my third is Joaquin. I think you can compare his version of Joker with the rest.
I mean, you can, but you asked for 2, and I almost didn't
no, that's fair. I feel you on that. Because if I hadn't have seen someone mention Mark Hamill, I would have just kept it live action just for the sake of being live action. But
you're right.
Mark
Hamill would be those 2.
Yeah, Mark Hamill is the Joker. And I would still love to see him paint his face and be a live action old man Joker. Like, could you imagine him being Joker in like a Dark Knight Returns style movie where he's reformed and he does whatever he needs to do? And by the way, he goes on I'm pretty sure he goes on a talk show and then eventually shoots the dude in the face on the talk show. So I do believe that Joaquin, Todd Phillips' version of Joker pulled that scene out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it takes a few lines out of like the Killing Jokes book too.
It does, which is
it all takes one bad day.
So good, man. I love that movie.
Yeah. those would be my top 2, and like you said, Joaquin is my third as well. I like Leto. I like Nicholson, and they are both just different, but to me, they're not the essence of the Joker.
Yeah.
And I think that Leto's would change if we saw the David Ayer cut, because I've read some stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh. Including, we'll have to talk about it off live, because I don't want to spoil it in case no one knows, but there's something that I read recently. Mental. Banana. Never would have seen that coming in that movie. I wish they'd have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is The Dark Knight. That wraps up the middle chapter of this version of the Tournament of Trilogy, this trilogy of trilogies.
Yep.
What again? I just want to throw up the results here. Star Wars versus Indiana Jones. That poll, I'm going to make that poll tomorrow morning so that everyone can just hop on, and it'll end before our show, because I don't want to mess up and do a week from today like I always end up doing.
Yep.
So that is your current ability to vote right there. I don't remember how we wrap up this show. Oh, yeah. We've done questions from the comments. David, where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can find me at my name, David Thompson, on Facebook, at David J. Thompson on Instagram and TikTok, and then David Thompson with 2 A's in the David on Twitter. Thomas, what about you?
Really quick. Terry just posted this, I do believe, from our show. Read earlier that Johnny Depp has been earmarked for Joker in Batman Beyond. I don't know about Batman Beyond, but there was rumors that they wanted him to be Joker in the
Matt
Batman.
Reeves.
Yeah, which I hope doesn't happen. I hope they cast me instead. Matt Reeves, I'll give you everything you didn't know you wanted. Phrasing. You can find me at Thomas Carter Rochester actor on Facebook, at Thomas Carter Rochester, all one word, no hyphens, no spaces, on Instagram, at Thor Son of Dale on TikTok. Again, I might be deleting TikTok. I just got to get off my butt and do it. At TC Rochester Act. That is T letter C Rochester at A. I messed that up. I apologize. T is in Thomas, C is in Carter, Rochester Act, ACT Alpha Cambridge, Toronto. I just made stuff up. That is on Twitter. Thank you. Life of Thor on YouTube, where you can find my acting reel, as well as Power Ranger watch-alongs and Thor Watches The Mandalorian. I'm getting prepped to do Thor Watches the DC Crisis crossover. I'm going to film the final 2 episodes because I've not done that yet. It's been a busy year. David, I forgot to have this up the whole show, but where can everyone find our
Yes. So you can find like where our social media is. So you can find our show obviously here on the Let's Thunder Action Show Facebook page. Watch us live also on the HWWS WebTV YouTube channel. And then follow us. Make sure to follow us at LTA Podcasting on Twitter.
Yes. David, what do you have to promote for the week?
Yeah, so guys, if my other podcast is called Double Down Debates, you can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It is just an audio version of an audio podcast, so you guys can check that out. It is a sports-related kind of debate podcast, obviously by the title. If you guys are into sports or anything like that, please go check that out. Subscribe, share, like, whatever, rate, all that good stuff. Double Down Debates on Apple Spotify.
I just ran into my microphone. I'm so sorry to everyone's ears.
How about you, Thomas? You all right?
I survived. I want to promote Harlecon on August 15th. That's 3 weeks from today. We are going to have a whole host of varied topics. We have a Star Wars panel. There's a cosplay panel. We have a What We Do in the Shadows panel led by yours truly, Batman. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping that David is free that day to hop onto the Star Wars, but work schedules and all, we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, work, and if everybody go twerk. Anyways, back to the plot. I also want to promote subscribing to us, Lights Thunder Action podcast on the audio versions. Yeah. Whether it be on your Apple podcast, your Google podcast, your Spotify, your Spreaker, or you just subscribe to the HWWS WebTV. And my last promo is subscribe to the HWWS WebTV. You will get a large litany and host of shows, including our show, Hanging with Web show, where they interview people. They interview famous people, not as famous people, soon to be famous people, as well as Reels and Heels talking movies, wrestling. They have a large swath of content. And they just added our friends from Nerd Culture and Ryan Permison, who also right now, they're still live. If you go over to the Nerd Culture page, they are doing a live watch along of the movie The Net. It turns, I think, 20-something years old today, maybe 20. It's with Sandra Bullock. They're live currently. You should go give them love. Go give them a shout out. Terry is posting stuff in the comments. Big shout out. This is where you can find Harlecon. It's the event, Harlecon 2020. We're going to be doing it live. Alfred will be there and Artist Alley, it appears. And we love you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for voting. Thank you for joining us on this.
We got a lot of votes.
Yes, thank you. Again, I think everyone, this is the most active our comments have been during this movie review, and I like that. I hope that you guys keep that up. Come back next week for The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
There's a strong chance I'm going to poop on it a little bit. So
yeah, that's fine. I honestly, I don't really remember. I remember defending it for some reason, but I don't remember why exactly. And I'm excited to rewatch it and remember why I actually enjoy it, because I've seen it a few times and I always remember being like, that's not as bad as people say. So we'll see. It should be an interesting conversation.
and that's why I defend it. It is not as bad as people say, but it's not as good as it should have been.
Yeah.
But removing the Joker from the situation with those characters, it's not as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
Like they could have done things a little bit better.
Been better.
That movie better. And like I said last week, it just suffers from a bad third act. So it short happens. This has been episode 17 of Lights, Thunder, Action. We'll catch you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
We love you.
Bye.